The African American Legend series highlights the accomplishments of blacks in areas as varied as politics, sports, business, literature, education, and religion. We will explore how African Americans have succeeded in areas where they had been previously excluded because of segregation, racism, and lack of opportunity. I'm your host, Dr. Roscoe C. Brown, Jr., and with us today is the president of the City College, President Gregory Williams. Hi, Greg.
Dr. Brown, how you doing?
The City College, tell us about that.
Well, when I arrived at City College 4 years ago, I thought there was really need to kind of create a greater morale and a sense of common purpose. And I came here from Ohio State University, and I remember that Ohio State, of course, is renowned for its football programs.
No, it's an academic program.
And academics, absolute academics as well. But what struck me was that a lot of the Ohio State players in the professional leagues on Sunday afternoons, they would be interviewed and asked, "Where did you go to school?" And they would say, "I went to the Ohio State University." And that really caused a very positive feeling. So I thought, we need something like that at City College. Now, the official name of City College is the City College of New York. So I said, why don't we focus on the? And of course, when I did it, the people were laughing and students were laughing and faculty weren't really too excited about it initially. But now I have everyone going around saying, the City College of New York.
You have your pen there.
I have my pen.
With the "the" as large as the City College.
Well, in fact, about 3 or 4 months ago, when Senator Clinton was at City College speaking, she came out on the podium and she said, "I am so pleased to be at the City College of New York."
Well, you know, a college president is a marketing genius when he or she functions right. Educational leader, fundraiser, but mainly one who sets the tone of the college. And that's really a very classic example, the City College of New York.
Well, of course, you know more about setting tones of colleges. All of the work and experience you've done is
from the Bronx.
From the Bronx, right? The Bronx.
The Bronx is not just Bronx; it's the Bronx.
Exactly. My feeling is, look, if the leader is not talking positive about a place, no one else is.
You got it. That's exactly
and so I
right.
think that's really important. And of course, it's easy to talk positively about a place that you feel positively about. And I certainly feel very positively about City College and all the things we're trying to do, all the things we have done, and all the things we want to do.
Now, the City University was founded really with the first college in 1847.
Right, 1847, the Free Academy was established, which really was the forerunner of the City College of New York, and so we are the flagship in many respects, and City University, of course, came substantially after City College was established.
And actually, the official forming of City University, I think it was in 1958,
I think that's right, around
because they put all of the colleges.
Yeah.
The colleges used to be one in Brooklyn, and one in Queens, and one in the Bronx, and there was Hunter College, and so on. So they pulled them together for this great university system we have, 230,000 students and 19 colleges, a medical school, a law school, and the City College.
And the City College. Well, it's an incredible university. There's no question about it. And I certainly have enjoyed the time that I've been here. And you're right, when you think of this 200,000 students as part of the City University of New York, and also think about, like City College has been, is really, I do believe, the single most important ladder of upward mobility, not only in New York City, but in fact in our entire nation. So there's really, it's pretty remarkable in terms of the history, and you could go back and talk about some of the graduates at City College and other places, young men and women who virtually had nothing, came from families of incredibly limited resources, but now are leading Fortune 500 companies, are Nobel laureates, served on the Supreme Court of the United States, have done some pretty amazing things and have risen from incredibly humble roots.
It's interesting that the population at City College served originally, particularly in the late 19th century, early 20th century, basically European immigrants.
Right.
The Irish, Jews, Italians, Russians. After World War II, as the population began to change in complexion, City College now serves predominantly people of color from all over the world. How many ethnic groups do you have in City College? What is the percentage of people of color at City College?
Well, I think we're running over 80% people of color at City College. And of course, you're right, from all around the world. I think we have about 114 different countries represented in our student body, and that's really, you're absolutely right. What it is, it's the richness of the demographics of New York City, and City College and the City University system will always reflect the city of New York. And so that's what New York is, and that's what City College and City University is. And we're very proud of it because it allows us to have people from all over the world come together and talk about their own experiences, their backgrounds, but their common desire to really build a foundation for the future in their lives. And it's an amazing place.
Well, when the turn of the century, City College's curriculum was primarily classical curriculum, rhetoric, Latin, Greek, mathematics. What does City College focus on now? What are the many, many programs the City College has?
Well, we have 7 different schools, if you will, actually, architecture, engineering, science, social science, arts and humanities. We have the Sophie Davis School of Biomedical Education as well as the School of Education. So we have a broad range of programs. We have really the only public schools of engineering and architecture in the New York metropolitan region. And so, for instance, if you want to go to a public school and study engineering or architecture, there's really only one place you're going, and that's the City College. And so that's really been a pipeline for a lot of students to be able to pursue those particular careers. But we draw, interestingly enough, because of those specialized programs, we draw really equally from all 5 boroughs that are part of New York City. And that's also important for us as well.
Now tell us about your classic campus, the campus that Langston Hughes wrote about in his poems, the castle on the hill looking down on Harlem. Remember his classic poem was a theme for English A, where he talked about the fact that he was from Harlem and his instructors did not really respect him or reflect on him. Of course, that's changed. But these classic buildings were built around the turn of the century.
Well, that's right. Actually, City College, until the turn of the century, of the last century, was located downtown. They moved up to the our campus on the west edge of Harlem around 1907, if I remember correctly. And it's we are very fortunate to have the building and facility we have. We have about 35 acres of land. And Shepherd Hall, for instance, and the Great Hall in Shepherd Hall is just a magnificent place. As you know, you've been there several times. It seats 1,400 people. And every time we have visiting dignitaries, they just are amazed. The campus we do have a true campus. Basically one of the few campuses in New York City, and it's the students treasure it and love it, and I think it's an important feature of who we are. But actually, I think an important point you were making earlier, we are trying and have tried to reach out to the community, and so we have a lot of connections with the community, because I think that's important. We are in that community, we're part of Harlem, and we're very pleased to be part of the greater Harlem community. And I think our students really resonate to that as well. And I think that's important. I've been in higher education for about 30 years now, and it's always been my feeling that you can't have an ivy tower that's really isolated from your surrounding community. That's not the way I operate. That's not what I value. And so I do try to reach out.
But of course, one of the classic moments in City College history were the strikes and the protests in 1968 to open up the college to more minorities, to the Sikh program, and so on. How did the college respond to that? And as you look back, as the college looks back, how do they reflect on those days?
Well, I wasn't here in those days, and you're more of a historian of that period than I am. But I think to the extent that the effort was to open the campus to a broader population, i.e. really having a more substantial representation of people of color, I think that is certainly a positive thing, and we certainly are reflecting that today, and we are very pleased with regard to that. I think that's an important part of who we are.
Well, clearly, if you walk around the campus of City College, you see the mosaic of New York City.
Absolutely.
You see people from Africa, from Asia, from the inner city, from the Midwest. You find a whole range of folks.
From all over, actually, and that's one of the reasons why, for instance, for 2 years in a row, City College has won the Model United Nations competition, where we send a team there, and you represent a country. And for instance, this year we represented Barbados. And we had students in our class from Barbados. So when there are questions that arose as well, what was the feeling in the country about this, all we had to do was to turn to our students who had some experience in that country of their birth. And so that has allowed us to have some expertise and knowledge that most schools, we competed against 225 other colleges from around the United States, and in fact from around the world. 22 countries were represented there, and for 2 years in a row, City College walks home with the #1 prize. I told our students, I said, look, if you do it once, people can say, well, that's a fluke, but if you do it twice, that's something very special.
That's very interesting. My grandson attended the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, and they have a large number of minority students, very similar to City College. And 5 or 6 years ago, they won the United Nations competition, using the same thing, people who knew about the third world and had some involvement in investment. So now, many of your students are low income, and tuition is low, but sometimes they even have difficulty making the tuition with the cutbacks in the various Pell and federal programs. What do you do to help your students be able to jump that financial hurdle?
Well, you're absolutely right. More than half of our students come from families where the family income is under $30,000 a year. And of course, trying to live in New York, we're talking about families of 4 or 5 or 6 people. Trying to live in New York City on $30,000 a year is very, very difficult. So a lot of our students do have difficulty. That's one of the reasons, in terms of my fundraising efforts, I've spent a lot of time trying to raise money for scholarships to support the students, to provide some assistance to them so that they can focus on the academic side of their work, as opposed to trying to figure out how they're going to be able to get 2 or 3 part-time jobs to support themselves and their families. And it's a struggle for a lot of students.
Tell us about your fundraising efforts. I know you're very proud of those.
I'm very proud of it, and I'm very fortunate in terms of what has happened. When I arrived at City College, because of some of the past problems they've had at City College, folks were telling me I would be lucky to raise $25 million in a period of 5 years. And in just under 4 years, we have raised over $100 million. Now,
tell me how you did it.
Right.
I'm a college president. I know what it took, but I want to hear how you did it.
It's really hard, but what's really important is to have a good story to tell. And we have a good story to tell. We have raised academic standards, so we have a very strong student body, but at the same time we've maintained the diversity that you talked about earlier that is really part and parcel of City College. And so we've been able to go out and talk to the graduates, and most of this money is coming from graduates of City College, telling them what's happening at City College today and asking them, don't you want to be part of something that's very special, and in fact, not only special, but incredibly unique, because we are serving the population largely of New York City, that diverse population. We are supporting these students who have incredible ambition, great ability, but limited resources. And so our graduates have just come back and wanted to be part of this incredible enterprise.
This is an interesting interaction, because when we open the doors to new populations, many of them did not have the academic skills, and we had to have remedial and other support work. And some people said that was lowering the standards. As a community college president where we worked with those students, I believe it was making opportunities available. You don't lower the standards, you may take a little bit longer. You might have to take more courses. And that's what you've done up at City College.
Well, right. We don't have any remedial programs at City College.
We don't have many anywhere in the City University now, but you have support programs.
We have support programs. We have some amazing support programs that are really working with students and helping them address whatever issues they may have. But the students that we're getting, and we get a lot of transfers from the community college where students have gone there who need certain skills developed and done that work, and then come to City College and are able to be successful in our programs at City College. And I think that's been important, and that's really made a huge difference in terms of the success of the students. And of course we have support programs, be they academic support, be they scholarship assistance, be they personal support, because obviously a lot of folks have family difficulties or issues they're dealing with in their own lives, and so we're trying to provide as much help and assistance as we can to students.
Yeah, the articulation with the community colleges is very important. I know when I was president of Bronx Community College, we had an articulation agreement with City College, where students from our engineering technology program would be accepted into the City College engineering program as juniors. And they had made all the requirements, and they did very well. Some of the professors weren't overly happy with that, but I assume that has passed now, because first of all, professors respect students when they can perform, and even though they may have had some misgivings at the beginning, after they see these great students coming from the various community colleges, they say, look, we want them and we'll work with them.
Well, I'm not sure we've converted all the faculty members, but we've converted most of them, and the articulation agreements you're talking about are important and something that we value and continue to develop, because that's really a pipeline for us of getting outstanding students into City College. And we're very pleased with the relationships we do have with community colleges, because it really has made a difference. And we have with BMCC, Bureau Manhattan Community College, Bronx, as well as Hostos and a number of other schools.
Well, you have another program which is supported, I think, by the Transportation Authority. It's like a Transportation Institute. I know when I was at Bronx, we were involved with that as well. How is that coming along?
That's coming along very well, and we've got some great leadership and some great faculty members in there. And actually, that's also reaching out to the community at large as well. And for instance, we have even high school students that are coming in and being part of that. And I have actually, the last couple of years, I've had an opportunity to go and speak to them as they began their work at the beginning of the summer. And it's really great. My feeling is, the more students we get on our campus thinking about college and having that experience, the greater likelihood it is that they are in fact going to enroll in college. And hopefully they'll enroll at City College, but whether they do or not, at least they're on that path.
So this is an interesting difference from the earlier City College. Many of those students, their parents didn't even want them to go to college, and they had to struggle and work and finally get through the college. Now we find more and more parents want their kids to go to college, but may not have the resources. And that's where the City University and the City College comes in. And the proof of the pudding is in the awards that you get for your students and faculty. Tell us about some of those awards.
Well, the awards are great, and you're right. More and more students are coming really because the parents are generating a lot of interest, and the parents, of course, realize how important it is in this day and age that their child be able to secure a college education. You know, I had a situation just last week where we had a father, a Chinese immigrant, who actually the family's living on $19,000 a year in New York City. And the young man had an SAT score, I think, of over 1,500, but there'd been some mistake in his high school about getting him in school, and so we found out about this. They called us and they said, can I come to City College? And he had a 95-point grade point average and a 1,500. We said, of course we're going to take you to City College. Actually, the father was so excited about that, the father broke down crying on the phone because we had really provided an opportunity for this family that otherwise was not going to be provided.
And you got some financial aid for the students, scholarships.
We got some financial aid that we can use to help those students come in. And of course, the Honors College has been an amazing
Tell us about the Honors College. That's a new development, at least at the City College.
Right, it's a new development. It's about 4 years old. I think it started in the entire City University of New York about 4 years ago, and it's been a real opportunity to bring in truly outstanding students, New Yorkers who could go anywhere in the country they want to go, but do want to stay in New York and want to have a quality education. And so the Honors College, which is basically a true meritocracy, because we're talking about students. For instance, the average GPA for the Honors College class that comes in this fall at City College is going to be around 94 and an SAT score of 1347. That's the average. And so we've got a couple perfect SAT scores in that group. And so that's really a very strong group. What's more important about that, though, is that is an incredibly diverse group as well. About 80%, 85% of those students in our Honors College at City College are students of color. So we are showing that you can have academic excellence and you can have diversity at the same time in the same place.
Well, what attracts the students? Why would these students decide to come to the City College rather than going to some other school that's offering them scholarships?
Well, we offer scholarships, so we offer full tuition scholarships. There's also
that helps.
That helps, exactly. That's the market out there.
Yeah.
They get a stipend that allows them to either use that for internship programs or study abroad. They get a laptop computer, and then of course we have some specialized honor courses that they have the opportunity to take. And then we have some great programs. I mean, they're attracted by amazing faculty members. For instance, one of the persons that's joining this fall is a young man by the name of David Bauer. You may have heard of him. David won the Intel Prize. In fact, I think the Daily News characterized him as the smartest kid in America who won $100,000 as part of the Intel Prize. He could go to school anywhere in the country he wanted to go. He said he wanted to come to City College. And he visited Harvard, and he visited the schools on the West Coast. And people were asking him, why do you want to come to City College? He said, because at City College, it doesn't matter who you are as long as you can do the work. And they have good programs. So we have incredible programs in engineering and architecture and humanities, really across the board, and the students are gravitating that. Give you one idea about one of our faculty members who teaches physics. A woman by the name of Miriam Sarachek, who has committed her life to City College. She's been at City College for about 30 years. She's a former president of the American Physical Society, which is the Society of Physicists. Former presidents include people like J. Robert Oppenheimer, the founder of the father of the atomic bomb. And she just this year went to Paris to receive the L'Oreal UNESCO Prize for Women in Science, which many people call the Women in Science Nobel Prize, a $100,000 award. She represents all of North America. She teaches at City College. She works with undergraduate students and even high school students. That's the type of thing that are drawing a lot of these students to City College.
What about your ethnic studies? I know at one time there was some controversy about your ethnic studies, your black studies, your Latino studies, Asian studies. How's that coming along now?
Well, interesting that you should ask, because you mentioned earlier about the connections to the past of City College and to our alums. We have a Jewish studies program at City College that has something like 300 students in it. Less than 5% of those students are Jewish.
That's interesting.
It is really amazing. We had Deborah Lipstadt, who came, who wrote the book wrote a book about the Holocaust deniers, people who would deny it, came and spoke just this past week at a City College event. And we had been able to send some of the students who were in the Jewish Studies program on the March of the Living. They went to Auschwitz and then they went to Israel. And all of these students were students of color who were not Jewish, but that's something they wanted to find out about, that they wanted to know about, and it's really resonated very positively at City College. So we're certainly pleased about that in terms of how those programs are developing.
Now, City College has always been known as a place of political activism. I know in the recent generations, many of our students have really become apathetic to politics or ideological discussions. What's happening at City College now with regard to ideas, politics, interaction, protest, etc.?
Well, there's always protests, at City College on one issue or another. That's certainly a history and part of City College.
That's part of college life, really.
That's part of college life, really. We have we have over 100 different clubs at City College. So an opportunity for folks to really talk about their particular areas of interest with like-minded folks, and of course to engage in debates with one another. But in the main, most of the students these days are really focusing on getting that college degree because they realize that if they are going to be able to do the things they want to do in their lives, they really need that education, and they need to get through as quickly as they can to begin the work on their career.
Has the Patriot Act affected your ability to bring in some international students? I know there's some pretty draconian regulations in the Patriot Act.
That's been a concern, but obviously it's concerned because it takes so long oftentimes now for this the visas to be processed and for students to be able to come in. It's not been a major issue for us, but it is a continuing concern.
What about minority faculty? What's been your success in attracting minority faculty?
We've made a lot of efforts in that regard because while, like I said, we have really, last year we were #1 in the country in diversity where Hispanics were the largest group. The year before we were #1 in the country where blacks were the largest group. And my feeling has always been that we should have a faculty that reflects that student body, at least to a certain extent. And we've done pretty well in that regard, but that's a continuing effort because those numbers are fairly small. But we really find that a lot of folks come to City College because they want to work with our students. They want to be part of a very diverse institution. So it's been a major draw for us and something that we're going to continue to work on.
Okay, last word. What is your goal for City College for the next 5 years?
Well, my goal for City College is to continue to make City College the best that it can be. We're obviously going to continue. We're in a major fundraising campaign right now, so we're at $100 million. Our goal is $150 million. My Vice President for Development is very nervous that I'm going to raise that goal. We're going to continue to bring in great students. We've been very fortunate to have outstanding students. For instance, this year we had the first Rhodes Scholar since 1939 at City College. This young man, it's an incredible story. He and his mother came to this country about 12 years ago. They were homeless for about a year and a half and lived under the George Washington Bridge. This young man is going to go from living under the George Washington Bridge to Rhodes Scholar.
Great story.
Oxford University.
And of course, that's
right
about the City College.
That's about the
and
City
President Gregory Williams, who we've been talking with today. Good luck with your work with City College.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.